Welcome to the Football Show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Alan Ruff, Hugh McDonald, Tam McManus and Peter Martin here with you. Thank you very much. Yeah, no, just to say to you, to Ruffy, there are some days we've made it by the skin of our teeth for the show.
Yes, they certainly have. Yeah. But you'll be composed in a minute, you'll be fine.
Well, the worst one ever, Peter, was this man who's done 3 World Cups, faced up to Zico, done World Cup qualifiers at Anfield, tipping balls on him, John Toshak, I remember you phoned him and said, Ruff, you might have to present the show today. I've never seen it. Bottle term. Never seen anybody's ball completely go. I completely go.
Yeah. And not only that, by the way, can I just say to you, on that day when I did say that to him, I actually made it I was 2 minutes late. I've very rarely been late for a show, Hugh, you know. I was 2 minutes late, and all I could hear on the radio as I'm driving in is Ruffy going, "Hello, everybody." Peter's not here at the moment. It was the worst ever. But anyway, apart from anything else, here we are. We're ready to talk football, international football, and of course some of the domestic issues as well. Here's the quiz question for you, which is Scotland related, of course. In which year did Scotland last win their opening European Championships qualifier? This is obviously off the back of our 3-0 win against Cyprus. We'll get the thoughts of the guys on that. And of course, let's not forget, there's a small matter of not only a competition winner, but a new competition.
It's another fantastic competition from PLZ Soccer for your chance to win this signed print of Arsenal and Scotland fullback Kieran Tierney by artist Gio Thompson. You have to subscribe to PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel and put your answers in the comments section below to this simple question. What is Kieran Tierney's Arsenal squad number? So don't forget to subscribe to PLZ Soccer and put your answers in the comments section below. Good luck.
Yeah, signed by Kieran Tierney, no less, Ruffy. That's a good one, isn't it? With the FA Cup.
Yeah, it's fantastic. You know, he's all right. He's not in the team now regular, but he's certainly done enough down there for somebody else. If they want them, they'll have to pay a few bob for him. Yeah,
absolutely. Good luck with the competition. We'll announce the winner of last week's shortly. But to Scotland against Cyprus before we look ahead to Scotland against Spain. Ruffy, I don't know about you, did you watch the entire match? I watched it. It was turgid up until 87 minutes, couple of goals, put the gloss on it.
He was actually taking the words out of my mouth. You know, I think it was turgid for a while. I think when we got that early enough goal, I thought we were going to go on and open them up and have a very, very convincing result. But as you said, at the end, the 2 goals, yeah, made it look a wee bit better. But they are the whipping boys in this team. I mean, they are the 5th choice in the group, so I think everybody will be taking them. So I think we need to judge ourselves when we play Norway. If we'd been sitting here and we'd beat Norway 3-0, I'd be absolutely glowing. You know, so there's still, it wasn't a bad result, it wasn't a bad performance, it just could have been a wee bit better.
Yeah, should we be so negative about it all, Hugh, even although you're wearing your Scotland top?
Absolutely, I don't think so. I mean, I missed it because I had a date with Mickey Mouse and so on. Disney. But I did watch, I sped through it all this morning, and okay, it's easier after the event, but see, when you look at it, that's a great result. You're right out of the blocks, 3-0, no injuries, or no, well, Adams is away, but I mean, enough to go about. A great, big, huge game tomorrow against Spain. I think it's, I'm in a good place with Scotland at the moment.
Okay, if you're in a good place, where are you?
No, I am as well. I thought it was a good first half performance. I think the start of the second half, wee bit flat. I think you could feel it in the whole stadium. The fans were flat. You know, I think he made the changes at the right time. You know, he brought some freshness into the team. And listen, Scott McTominay came on and scored 2 great goals. You know, 2 great finishes. So he puts himself in contention to start tomorrow night. I thought Cyprus were stuffy. I thought they were. You know, I thought Gogic was excellent at the back for them. I thought he did a really good game. Read the game well. I think when they took him off about 10 minutes to go, they had a go. They started to commit a few players forward, and that's where Scotland got the gaps in the last 10 minutes to get a couple of goals. But I didn't think Cyprus were terrible. I think they might cause a couple of upsets maybe in the group. So I think it's a good result for us.
Yeah. Overall though, Scott McTominay can be happy with his couple. John McGinn is just outrageous, his achievement. I think he's the 5th all-time top goal scorer now for Scotland.
Yeah, and I would bank him to get more. You know, he makes great runs into the box. He's been given that licence. You know, if we're not going to play with 2 strikers, he's obviously under instruction to get in there as much as possible. And when he gets in there, people will cover for him. So, Yep, I think he will score. You know, I would like our strikers to be scoring, if I'm honest, but if he's going to take that burden, then fair dues.
What do you make of that all-time top goal-scoring list, Ruffy? You've played with, obviously, King Kenny. Did you play with Law? I wouldn't imagine so.
No, but I know it's quite a good start there this morning. You know, although Kenny and Dennis have scored the same amount of goals, Dennis has scored his goals in half the amount of games that Kenny Dalglish played.
Yeah, but I would say to counter that, and before Tam absolutely leathers me,
he's going to stick up for Kenny. Come on.
To counter that, Ruffy, Dalglish did it in tournaments. You know what I mean? Scotland really never qualified for anything under Dennis Law. I mean, it was sentiment more than anything else, Hugh, for 1974.
The other thing is, well, Kenny was a different player than Dennis Law. Kenny, see, it's some football forgotten is that, see when Kenny was at Celtic and comes out at Celtic, Kenny was a midfield player. He wasn't a number. He was a 4, or what people would now call a 4 or an 8.
Yeah.
He wasn't even a 10.
He was probably an 8.
Aye.
You know.
Aye.
Just
and
behind that.
He was never even. He wasn't a 4 player, and he became a 4 player. And then we went down to Liverpool. Liverpool said, "By the way, you're playing as one of a 2 up front because you're replacing Kevin Keegan." So I mean, Kenny had so much to his game. Where Dennis, who's it's certainly, I mean, Dennis is the only Scot that's ever won the Ballon d'Or in there, European Ballon.
Yeah, absolutely.
So nobody's going to complain about his quality, but it was all about 6-yard box for Dennis. So different apples and pears, as they say, you know.
Yeah.
I was surprised you didn't even know Hughie Gallagher, never mind Dennis Law. I thought he might have been in your squad at one point.
Never seen him, obviously, but obviously heard a lot about him.
Yeah, Hugh's been facetious, but I just thought I'd let him run with it anyway, because he's on that mood. If he's in that mood, I'm happy with him. But listen, over and above that, McTominay scored a couple of good goals as well. There were some nice passages of play. Just overall, sometimes I think maybe we're a wee bit too critical. A win's a win. I like what Hugh's saying about it.
Yeah, and as I said, Cyprus just sat back. You know, they sat back. They tried to stay in the game as long as possible. They were stuffy. I thought they defended really, really well. Many times did they get a block in at the last minute. You know, throwing themselves in front of shots. You know, blocks. It didn't cause us any problems at the back. They buoyed a speculative shot in the first half, which wasn't too far away, but apart from that I thought Scotland were comfortable, but you're never really completely comfortable at 1-0. You know, you always think that Cyprus could nick something, and they did try to in the last 10-15 minutes when they took Gogic off and they put another forward on. They tried to nick a draw, and that's where we get the 2 goals at the end. But I thought we played some nice stuff in patches, but you know, we're going to have to play a lot better, I think, to get in off of Spain. I think Spain are always the number 1 seeds in the group. Everyone expects them to win it, but I think at a packed Hampden tomorrow night, I think we can cause them a lot of problems with the energy we've got in the team, and we can go and get after them, I think. Yeah,
have we? Just out of curiosity on this, have we got enough of, you know, a direct player, you know, because that's the one thing I think about it, Tam. We are nice in passages, but when we have, for example, yesterday, although when you're watching the game, you're thinking, oh, come on, pick the pace up. When Stuart Armstrong's on the ball, his automatic thought is forward, break the lines. Suddenly you've got a 2-on-1. Have we got enough of those players?
Yeah, I think we have. I was really impressed with Lyndon Dykes when he came on. I thought he played really well when he came on. Lyndon Dykes, he held the ball up. You know, he set up a couple of opportunities. I think he'll start against Spain. I think he's a definite starter. Whether he plays Armstrong just off him or Christie, who came on as well just off him, I think he'll cause Spain problems. I think Spain won't like that. You know, somebody a big rough and tough, you know, centre forward getting about them. I think we've got to get the ball wide. We've got to get crosses in the box. I think that's where Spain are weak. I think we can put crosses into the box against Spain. I don't think we're going to be able to play through them, you know, in terms of, you know, cutting them open. But I think if we can get the ball wide, you know, to Tierney or Hickey, who played well as well, and get balls flashed across the goal or balls in the air, I think Lyndon Dykes can cause them a lot of problems, even knocking balls down to people coming through, McGinn's, Armstrong's, or scoring themselves. So I'm pretty confident tomorrow night. I think we can definitely get something off of Spain.
Yeah, okay. The real test is coming for our back line. I must admit, and I mentioned to him, you know, a good year or so ago that I thought he would have been a good signing. Porteous for a Scottish, you know, I thought Celtic might have had a look at him. The reason why I didn't suggest Rangers because I don't think a lot of Rangers fans like Ryan Porteous, but he's doing well at Watford. He plays the ball out well. He gives us a really different option when he hits that ball hard and out into the middle of the park.
Well, Hibs were playing him in midfield at times, wrongly I think, but
Yeah.
they were playing him in midfield at times, so people do fancy him in possession. Watford is a team that have got real aspirations for the Premier League, and they'll be looking for players that can play out for the back as well. I think like Tam though, see, I watched Spain and Qatar live, and it was fantastic to do so. And see the movement and the passing, see that way, nothing beats a live game.
Yeah.
You know, just sitting and watching.
Sense of perspective.
And watching the way the whole shape goes, and they were. It was up against a good, well, not a good German, a decent Germany team, and they were. We'll not get much of the ball, and I think we've got to be said to ourselves, like, fine. But what we're going to do when we have got the ball, and it's going to be interesting what we have got the ball, because I would be like Tam, I'd be launching it early.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I'm curious to see which way he's going to play on this one. Gallant says Porteous looked fine. Brian says Spain 4 or 5-0. Thanks, Brian. You're a real barrel of laughs on this programme. You've really kind of lifted my spirits. Although I think a lot of people do appreciate, Ruffy, that we know where our frailties lie. For me, it's still looking for a solid central defensive partnership that can handle, as Hughes mentioned, pace, movement, taking chances when they are limited, and that's what top sides do. They work out a way to get into your weakness and then capitalise on it.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt about it. We're going to get tested. This will be the first time that back four is going to be tested. Porteous is going to be tested, at this level, because it is a big difference, the level of Spain, and where he is. So I hope he does particularly well. I hope they all do well. But I'm like Tam. I can't see us cutting teams of this quality open and scoring goals. So I'm looking at corners. I'm looking at free kicks. I'm looking at anything run about the box. Because they tend not to be. I mean, you've seen them more than us. They tend not to like to be in a battle. It crosses into the box. They don't seem to handle it as well as the style that we play our game.
Yeah.
Going and winning balls.
I think overly optimistic, Ruff.
I said 4 points on Friday. I said I think we're good enough to get 4 points.
The thing about Spain as well is we keep looking at our frailties and that, and quite properly so, because that's what we're here for. We need to discuss is that Spain have got frailties as well. Spain. Yoselu played for them. He's 32. Made his debut the other day. He scored 2 goals, and that's a big problem they've got. They haven't got a centre forward that's regularly scoring goals.
Yeah.
And when they find a centre forward that can score goals, they can't do the other side of the game, which is so important to them for their shape, which is closing down all the time.
Yeah.
See, they thought, well, Morata will solve the problem because he can score. But Morata comes on and Morata doesn't join the press, so it leaves them disjointed. And you could see that he saw it really clear when I watched them against Germany, where they were really on the ball, beautiful. Busquets, you're just sitting there, tongue hanging, just saying, what's he do every time? I'm just shutting this ball about, but getting nowhere. Morata comes on, good finishes, but Morata's to blame for a German goal because he doesn't close down. And I'll be interested to see if Yoselu's can and will do the shutting down job for them, because they're all about a system, Peter, and the system is that quick shutdowns and keep rotating the ball. And if you, it sounds primitive as well, if you just, because we all like to talk about the beautiful game, but sometimes the long ball to centre forward and winning the second ball
defend.
Can get results.
Well, I don't know. There's a change in there. I don't know if it's with the clocks, and we've lost an hour or something, but there's a real optimism about you three guys, which is maybe hopefully going to rub off in me. Peter Ramsey says Scotland won, Spain won. Tony Holton says they're not the team they once were, which I think a lot of people will agree with you on that. And I think there's a sense that maybe something. And Ian says, I agree with Ruffy, 4 points achievable in this one. So interesting times. We shall see.
Ruffy delighted with that.
I can always tell with his wee face. His wee cheeser. He does. He puts on his cheesy face when he thinks he's close to being right. Because see if you mention to him who's going down, and we talk about Kilmarnock, he does this. Yep, I mentioned it at the start.
Let's hope I've got a cheesy grin on Wednesday night.
Yeah, absolutely. Fingers crossed with this one. And Hugh Scott says 1-0 to Scotland for me. A VAR penalty. Hugh, watch the change in the punditry on Wednesday. If it's a dodgy VAR decision that gets Scotland the win, suddenly people will be going, yeah, who cares? Okay, well, Steve Clarke was talking today because he could reflect on the win over Cyprus and look ahead to the big one coming up against Spain tomorrow night. Our reporter Adam Binney was there.
Thanks, Peter. I'm outside of Hampden Park as the Scottish national team are back in action again tomorrow when they take on the giants of international football that are Spain. But manager Steve Clarke was speaking to us at his press conference this afternoon and insists that his side must show up in these matches and must show how far they've progressed against the top sides.
Thinking of ourselves, we want to be competitive against the top teams. We've got promotion to Nations League A, so we know that in that group we're going to come up against 3 top quality teams. We've got a friendly this match. We've taken England as a friendly, so we're trying to push the players to get better. And the more you play against top quality opposition, the better you should get. We've shown in the past that we're capable of getting results against good teams, and that's what we have to do again tomorrow night.
Clarke added that if Scotland are to take anything away from this one, they must attack the match with the correct mindset, just as he did as a 17-year-old.
I go to every game thinking I'm going to win, and I've done that since I was 17, every single game. I don't think you can be professional and go to a game and think you're going to lose. So we approach the game, we know we have to be disciplined, we know we have to be organised, we know we have to play very, very well. Spain probably have to slightly underperform, but if that happens, then we can get a positive result.
Okay, I like that. Let's hope Spain slightly underperform and we're at the top.
I think so, because we're being optimistic. I mean, the bookies always will show it. Spain should certainly win.
Yeah.
But I'd be jubilant with a point. I'd be really, I think that I would take that all day long. Anybody that you were not impressed with, Ruffy, from that game against Cyprus?
If I was going to be picky a wee bit, probably my Rangers boy, Jack.
Yeah.
I don't think he does enough in the game.
Would you switch him?
For playing against teams like Cyprus, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think when you play against Spain, it needs to be probably somebody like
defensive.
Him. But I think when you're at Cyprus, you want somebody making the runs like McGinn and Armstrong, somebody else, because you're not going to be backs to the wall against Cyprus. So, but I mean, they didn't have a bad game. I just think that there should be somebody out there maybe a wee bit better.
Yeah, I mean, Jason says Ryan Jack reminds him of Darren Fletcher, always passing backwards, nothing forward. If anything, I think the key to this one is legs. It's being able to run and close down and harry them, and that kind of a press without being high press, because I think if we do a high press and leave Hanley at the back, we're goosed.
I mean, the whole thing is, and Steve Clarke will be working on it very strongly. The whole thing's about shape, and I think Jack will have a real role to play in the game, because I think he's...
Instead of McTominay, would you put McTominay in?
Well, McTominay's put his hand up, absolutely. Yeah. But I think, one of the things with... I would go with that. I wouldn't be strong on either. I'd probably just slightly prefer Jack, because I think he's very good defensively, and he's very clever defensively as well. Is that the thing about Clarke is he usually just is loyal. So if you started with Jack on a Saturday for a game in midweek where it suits Jack's qualities, I don't think he'll drop him, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. What changes would you make?
I would play McTominay before Jack. I just think McTominay's a better player. I just think that McTominay's a better player. He's come on and scored 2 goals the other day. I think he's more a goal threat. It depends what Scotland are going to play. Is he going to sit back and play defensively? If he's going to kind of sit in the counter and play, create a negative, I think he'll play Jack. But I think if he wants to go and try and win the game, I think he'd play McTominay. But I think McTominay's a better player, and I would play, if you've got a better player, I think I would play McTominay rather than Jack.
Yeah. Any blow that Shea Adams has gone back injured?
Yeah, I didn't think he was great. I didn't think he had a great game.
No.
Shea Adams, his touch a few times was poor. And I thought that Dykes came on. I thought he was very good when he came on. I thought he looked really, really strong, holding the ball up, bringing people into the game. He was unlucky when he cut back to somebody and they scrambled away. I think he's a set to play. I think you'll see Armstrong just off him. I think you'll see maybe 3 across the middle. But I think it is a blow because you want all your players. But Shankland coming in is a decent replacement. But I think he might have played Dykes anyway after the way he played when he came on. I thought he was excellent.
Yeah, I agree with Tam on the basis that sometimes, and they're thin in the ground and we don't have them, is just somebody rough. Listen, when you played you had an abundance of them, but somebody who holds the ball in and just suddenly keeps possession is so invaluable. I mean, he's good at it. He's not great at it, but he's all we've got. So,
but see, when you've got somebody like that who you know his strengths, you just let the good players play around about him. You know, and Hugh's saying play the ball long. If the ball's going to get played long, the McGinns and all them know it's going to go long, so they know he's got a fair enough chance of maybe getting a header or maybe holding it up. So there'll be an area where they'll have to be in that area where he is. You know, so that's just all about playing as a team. The one thing, this is a wee nitty thing with me, I do wish we would stop moaning about the park.
Well, just out of curiosity, can I just ask you
the
something?
park's what it is. Just get on with it. Stop using it as a sort of a get out, you know, because it's the same for both teams.
I didn't think it was that bad.
Neither did I. I think it. Did you not?
I thought it was poor. I think the
pitch
park's
was poor,
poor.
did you?
I think. Do you know what? You watch the game against Ukraine. The park is immaculate. If they want to play a quick passing game, the ball zips along. I don't know. Joey, tell you something. I'm amazed that you said that because we obviously asked, the Scotland managers today about the park, and there seems to be this line of don't criticise the park. The park's not great. It slows the game down. I think it's slowing the game down.
Well, I agree with you, but I don't think it's a bad thing.
Against Spain.
Seriously, I mean,
no, I get where you're coming from.
Because they'll
cut the grass.
Because see, Spain, you know, we're saying, it's not a bad park or it's a bad park, right? Spain will look at that park and think it's a dreadful park.
Aye.
Seriously, Pierre, they'll go on there and say this is not acceptable.
That's some negativity in their head already.
Well, absolutely, but I'm just saying to you as an observation. I mean, Adam did ask Steve Clark today, and he went, "The park is fine." Great. But if you're watching the game, I'm watching the game, I'm watching other parts, and I'm looking at that ground, and again, Ruffy,
I don't understand how they can't play on it.
Well,
they're professional footballers at the highest level.
I know,
they should be able to play on it. I've seen Saturday.
Guy played in mud baths.
I know. I tell you about mud. I sat and watched the telly on Saturday, and I watched George Best scoring these 6 goals.
I know.
It was a swamp.
But with all due respect,
he was gifting by people.
With all due respect, Ruffy, can I just say something to you? I don't know anybody in the Scotland team, anyone in the current Scotland team that has the technical ability of George Best, who could have played on an ash park with broken bottles around him and still not hit one of them.
Well, surely that's up to them, you know, to prove
what
we've got. We want a good park, we want a quality park, we want a really quality park, but we've not got one.
Yeah.
So don't throw wee bits out there, because of the park.
Your wee bits.
No, Joey, tell you something. I love the way you're doing it, right? But it's as if you're bumping your gums out. Don't give it an excuse. Listen, the days of Ronnie Radford hitting one in a mud bath are long gone. But all I'm going to say to you is this. The point here is you should expect a top drawer park. See in the semi-finals of the League Cup. We were all moaning, and then everybody said, by the way, they've spent a fortune, they've got it back up to standard. The final was just as bad. What about the final, Celtic and Rangers?
Absolutely, the park's run.
The park's run.
I mean, the park's not up to scratch for an international park, and the reason you know that, and I agree with you, should be able to play in them.
Get them on a red ash and
get them on
the
with
a guy running at you with a song.
but if you talk to Spanish players tomorrow in the mix zone about the park, listen to them. The guys that are playing in La Liga, they'll not be having that.
No.
And by the way, that's no bad thing either.
Yep. Yeah, well, listen, I mean, on a flip side, I'll take it in the chin on the basis of, by the way, if this helps us against a team like Spain who can zip the ball about, all well and good.
They could see the way. The incredible thing is, it's like essentially it's like watching live football is at another level from watching the. It's so obvious that it is.
Yeah.
But see when you watch these guys, Tam, you know, like the speed and they're hammering the ball at each other, and the way they just take it in their and zip. You just sit nowadays at really top level football just like that. What's happening?
What did you make of the goalkeeper? I mean, Steve Clark said he was impressed with him, and I thought to myself, what were you impressed that he put on a yellow shirt because he had nothing to do? He had a couple of long range saves.
I think they just try to give him a bit of confidence. I just think, and he never did anything wrong. He did that wee slip, but I mean, he got away with it. So he'll be. Getting your first one out the window is a good one, because he'd probably been as nervous as anything. Maybe the history of his dad being there before him and his family there. So your first international game, you just want it out the road.
What was your first one?
Switzerland.
Yeah. What was the score?
1-0 we won.
Clean sheet, aye. Clean sheet, good.
Switzerland pure back then?
Shapu's that? No,
we won.
We won, sorry. Dalglish it will be. No,
hold on. What
Joe
year
Jordan.
What year was it?
76.
76?
76.
76? Oh, right. Was it Joe Harper?
Hope I get this right. No.
He's at Hartford.
It's a good one out there if you can't get it.
So somebody scored the winning goal against Switzerland in your debut.
Yeah.
Gordon
I
McQueen.
think it was. I think I've got a good idea.
Did he actually play in Scotland or did he play down south?
Oh, he played in Scotland.
Oh, he played in Scotland at that time, and he was a number 9 in 1976. So it wasn't Joe Jordan because he'd left to join Leeds. He was at Leeds.
There was 2 other people who got caps that night. They went on to be my manager and assistant manager.
Oh, right. Oh, that's
3 of us get our first caps that night.
on that 1976.
I know for a definite they too.
Yes.
I'm beginning
Who
to
were
wonder
they?
with the strikers.
Who
You
were-
get them. Who would be my manager and assistant manager later on in life?
Yeah. Billy McNeil.
Nope.
Jockstein.
Nope.
They were your manager.
Manager and assistant manager at a club that I was at.
Right. Okay. Right. Oh God, he's thrown us there. By the way, we'll need to have a think about that. Right. Okay, we'll think about that
Big
before we
Derek.
get to the end.
Nope.
No, Big Derek would never be his manager. He was your manager and your assistant.
The manager and
Pat Stanton.
assistant. No, at the club I was at.
Right.
They were the manager and assistant manager, and they 2 and me got our first caps that night
Alec
against
Miller?
Switzerland. No.
No.
We're running it.
Okay, we are running out. By the way.
One the goal scorer.
Yeah.
Willie Pettigrew.
I'd never have got that. I'd never have got Willie Pettigrew.
Somebody got it in the chat.
Did they?
Yep.
Did they? Wait, hold on. We need to give them a mesh.
Yep.
Bartholomew, well done. Willie Pettigrew, I would not have got that.
Jason got it.
Oh, Jason got it as well. Well done to you, Jason. Willie Pettigrew, that's an absolute belter. And there's Jimbo says Joe Craig. Remember Joe Craig?
Joe got one in his first cap as well, didn't
Yeah.
he?
Played with his son, Stephen.
That was a good one.
Joe Craig he scored his first touch for Scotland.
Is that right? But Willie Pettigrew is a good one because Willie Pettigrew was a really good player for Motherwell, but a really good player for Dundee United as well.
Aye, and he
Hearts as well.
and that,
Yeah, he played for Hearts
He
too.
was,
Yeah,
and he
sorry,
was
Robbie.
nearly at Hamburg as well. He was sitting in a hotel in Hamburg, ready to sign. And
For Hamburg?
Aye, and
Taylor.
he got the phone call for his agent. I think it was Jim McLean wants you at Dundee United, and that's where he went. I mean, Pettigrew. You just forget about these players, and I don't feel. But the great thing about Willie Pettigrew, I interviewed him a couple of years ago, and he's so happy in his life and all that. But he does the shift, stacking. It's either a supermarket at that big square at Hamilton, the big one.
Is that right?
And he stacks the supermarket shelves, and I always sit and I always think these guys, if people knew how good they were.
Yeah.
I mean, as professional football players, how good they were, and he's not getting any moans about it now because he's a great golfer. He likes golfing in the morning.
If Willie Pettigrew was playing now, he wouldn't need to stack shells.
Billy Pettigrew would play in the Premier League in England now.
Yeah.
Andy wouldn't be moaning about the state of the parks.
No,
He just got on with
he
it.
would go on with it.
You made your
Have you
point.
got,
gone
have you
with
got the
Pierre.
manager in this? I can't believe you're not getting the manager and assistant.
The manager and the assistant
Centre
for
forward.
Hibs.
No,
They were-
Well, when think of the team, couldn't have been Celtic.
So what was it?
Yeah, it's got to be Hibs.
It's got to be Hibs.
So
But
who
Alec
runs
Miller
it?
was your manager
Yeah, but
before him. Before him.
manager and assistant manager.
At Hibs, that's outrageous
outrageous.
that I can't think of that. It's because
appealing.
Jimmy Rope.
No.
Sloop. John Blackley?
John Blackley was the manager and Tommy Craig was the assistant.
Of course he was.
Well done. And Hugh's just mentioned that as well. John Blackley, well done, Hugh. So that's a good shout, Ruffy.
That's a great question.
Yeah. I'd never get Willie Pettigrew, to be honest with you. Anyway, prediction tomorrow night: Scotland, Spain.
1 each. I think we can get a draw. I think we can hang in there and take our opportunities. I think we'll score. I think Spain, we can definitely score. We just need to defend well against Spain. I think 1 each.
Okay, I'm going to take the criticism then, and I'm going to take it tomorrow night, Hugh. I think Scotland 1, Spain 2.
Well, I think we'll lose 1-0.
I'll go 3-0 Spain.
What?
I'll go on 1 each.
One each.
One each.
So our optimism is just a draw. Whereas, Niall says 2-1 Scotland. We hope you're right.
Go on, Niall, you're right.
Yeah, 1-0 Scotland, says Hugh Scott. I'll have what you're drinking, Hugh. Absolutely fantastic. And somebody suggested on the feed there that it was Ryan Jack bashing. It's not. It's an observation of. It's an observation of who we thought played well.
I said right Jack was necessary. He played against Spain and he should start. That's a harsh right Jack bashing.
Yeah.
Tam just suggested that Scott McTominay is a better player. I mean, that's a very reasonable assertion.
Ryan Jack's a good player.
Aye.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we've got our predictions. Give us your prediction as well. Tell us what you think. Who's going to play? Who do you think will win the match, Scotland against Spain? I think the most important question as we now move into spring is from Sam McGowan. He says, can you ask Ruffy when Skechers are bringing out their new spring range?
Still get them on.
He's got me involved in this.
Shoes get them on
as well, which is...
It's an age.
Yeah.
You've got to, it's an
Ruffy
age.
wears
It's
the same-
comfort. It's
Ruffy wears
comfort.
the
We're not into design.
You
We're
wear the
not
same
trying to
trainers
impress
every day.
anybody. Because
Every
they're
day.
comfy.
Is there not a situation?
Surely he's got another pair.
No.
Is there not a situation, Ruffy? See if you were ever on MTV Cribs, Ruffy.
What?
MTV Cribs.
MTV Cribs.
It's basically what happened. It's basically, Ruffy, when the cameras come in, you open the door of your house and then you show them round, right? And when you go into the walk-in shoe cupboard at yours and you go, and there's one pair of Skechers.
I've got 3 pairs of shoes.
Have you?
I've got them,
Uh-huh.
my beige brogues and a black pair of brogues. That's all I have.
For going out.
In your whole house?
Yeah.
No,
3
you have,
pairs
mate.
of shoes.
Why
Is that
do you
it?
need anywhere 3 pairs of shoes?
Oh, that's a good way to look at it, to be fair.
Jake? Jakey
Okay, Jakey Tramp. It would be interesting for you to do MTV Cribs, Ruffy, but I can't see it
Can
happening.
you imagine him? His house, Big Ruffy's house.
Yeah, absolutely.
Straight to the sex dungeon.
Yeah, you're not going to shut up, will you? Anyway, apart from anything else, and by the way, there will be a call from his wife to just give you pelters, to be honest with you. Other internationals that did take place, I'll tell you, the boys, Bukayo Saka is looking every inch a great player. He could get a big move away from Arsenal. He's got it.
Well, it's a crucial thing for us. Arsenal have tied him down for a few years, but they're talking about a 10-year deal for him. Talking about a kind of Mudryk deal.
Suddenly they laughed at Jim McLean,
better wages than Jim McNeil.
60 quid a week for 10 years.
And it all depends how. It's a really crucial one for Arsenal because you think to yourself, how serious are Arsenal going to be? Are they going to be a team that keeps their best players, that adds to their best players? Are people buying into the Arteta revolution, particularly if they win the league? And I think they've got a better chance of winning the league. I mean, I know Tom's very bullish about them winning the league. I still think Manchester City will win it. But it's getting ever closer, isn't it? And if they win the league, then why would Saka want to move anywhere? He's living in one of the best cities in the world, playing for league winners in the Champions League. Interesting one.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, Gareth Southgate, people were looking and wondering whether he could continue at the feel-good factor, although they came so close and didn't quite make it to the final. But of course, he stayed on, signed a new deal, and the England manager thinks he made the right move.
Whatever had happened this week, I still felt it would have been the right decision. I think, for a start, I think the team can continue to improve. I think had the decision been different, I think this would have been a really complicated week for somebody else to come in and take 2 matches with such a quick turnaround. But I've said to the players in the dressing room, I love being a part of this team.
Yeah, so he's in there as manager. He's got a good squad of players. I still, just on that footnote, and it's not, again, being in any way anti-English, I just think they're missing that vital part. There's just one part of me that says they can't win it because they've got that weak bit in the centre of defence. Any great team that I've witnessed over the years has to have a strong spine.
Absolutely. I was talking earlier on, England will qualify for things, England will get out of groups at finals, but when push comes to really shove, to get over the line in really big games against your Italy's in a final, against your France in a quarter-final, against Brazil in quarter-finals, whatever, you usually need real strong quality in the team. I think they fail at the goalkeeper. I don't think the goalkeeper's good enough. I think the goalkeeper escapes, I don't know how he escapes criticism, but the 2 goals against France, I thought I would lead at his door. The centre half's not good enough. And here's the thing, I don't think the manager's good enough either.
Yeah, you're not a fan, are you?
I like the guy, I think he's a great guy, he's a nice bloke and that, but I've never ever watched an England game at the very highest level where it's nip and tuck, and you suddenly get into the game and say, you know what, they won that because he did, he tweaked that or that. I mean, they were 1-0 up in a final against Italy, and Mancini won it for Italy. Mancini and the real strength that they've got mentally in their team with Cellini and others, they won that.
Yeah, everybody likes to analyse managers, talk about them. Some are favourites, some are not. Obviously on PLZ Soccer we have promised you lots of unique video content. We want to try and give you a different side to the station so that there's something for everyone, young and old, and hopefully you will tell your friends to share, like our stuff on social media, and of course the content that comes up on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. We want you obviously to try and subscribe to the channel and tell your pals that we are producing stuff that's well worthy of your eye. And one of them that we're very proud of, we just launched on Friday, is a Fly in the Wall documentary with the Livingston boss David Martindale.
There was a lot of negative publicity when Kenny left. It was all about David Martindale, the convicted criminal, David Martindale this, David Martindale that, David Martindale runs Livingston Football Club, all this. It was horrendous. Well done, well done. That wee pattern, we're sucking the wing back in, we're pulling the wing back in, we're getting the ball played with a vertical pass. I think the shelf life of a manager now, I think it's becoming idiotic, if I'm honest. I think the way football's going at some clubs, it's becoming a little bit embarrassing. You've got to have that discipline in your life. You've got to be willing to come into your work every day and work extremely hard. Every day is a day to get better. It's all the old cliches, but they're so true in football.
Well, it's called My Story, David Martindale, Livingston manager. If you do get a chance to watch it.
Well worth a watch.
Did you enjoy it?
Well worth a watch.
Enjoyed it as well.
I was away abroad, and this morning I was catching up the Scotland game. I'd bookmarked that, I saw it was there, I retweeted it over the weekend, so I really kicked it. Really good. Peter, I'm not great production values. Good stuff. Yeah. I enjoyed it.
I thought it was a good insight into him. There are some people who have a preconceived idea of him, Tam, but I think it gives you an insight into managers, the work that goes on. That's not just about picking the team.
Yep, I think it's great for people to see inside the dressing room. Obviously, I've been in there involved in football. A lot of people haven't, and they like to see what goes on behind the scenes. You know, and that's
a crucial thing
from picking them up first thing in the morning, travelling, getting there early, getting training prepared. You know, what kind of sessions we're doing, opposition stuff, you know, individual stuff. So no, I thought it was a great insight into being a manager, but inside the dressing room and what it takes to be a manager.
And that you hit the point really nail on the head there, because see, like me from being outside of football all my life, always wanted to be a football player. Okay, worked in the industry, watched it a lot, and that. Is you see that wee peek into And listen, I'm hurtling towards 68, and that stuff's still catnip for me. You know, if you go interviewing guys and they're telling you stories of what it's like in the dressing and what dressing's about, what they're doing, even wee things about the way they train and all that. I thought it was a smashing watch.
Yeah, I think the other thing about it, Ruffy, is I really liked the part in the car where he offers that personal insight into his treatment. Because we all know his backstory.
Yeah, and I think we have to be perfectly honest. There's not many managers who would do it. I don't think many managers would put themselves through that, truthful question and answer position. As you know, it's very, very difficult enough to get a hold of a manager without getting him to do that. So fair dues to him.
Yeah.
He's prepared to put himself out there, and I wish everybody would stop talking about his past. Let's move on. Give it a rest, and judge him for what he's doing at the team he's at.
He was very good on here. Remember when he was?
He was excellent in the studio here.
He was one of the best I think we've had.
Yeah, he's been really, really good giving us an insight. But if you like your documentaries, if you're the type of person that would watch All or Nothing on various clubs, this one certainly is. Basically the PLZ soccer team, Adam, Blair, Sean, Gordon and Anne all putting in the hard yards to make sure that we gave you as good an insight into a manager as you could possibly wish for, and all the PLZ soccer team deserve great credit for it. It's well worthy of you watching, and of course the one man who deserves the best credit is of course David Martindale and all the Livingston staff who were really so welcoming to us, and we want to thank them for it.
And Ruffy is the executive producer as well.
Yeah, Ruffy come up with the questions.
Based on an original idea by Alan Ruffy.
Yes.
Do you know how to get YouTube on your telly?
Yeah, exactly. Well, to be fair, the best question would have been, Jim Leishman's no longer the manager at Livingston, don't you? But have a look at it, and we're going to do a lot more of that unique content that hopefully you will enjoy. So tell your friends, share it, have a look at, give us your thoughts on it as well. We'll be talking about some of the stories that have been emerging today, as well as giving you another chance to look at the competition. We'll give you the quiz answer. Just out of curiosity, Ruffy, Friday night wasn't great for you guys. You've blown it. Have you blown it?
No, not at all.
No, you haven't blown it?
No, there's a lot of big games coming up. Tam's already identified the games at Queen's Park I've got coming up. Is it 4 away, 2 at home against the top teams, and we've got Queen's Park this week.
Yep.
So it's still cut and thrust. I always thought Inverness would get their act together, and they'll be saying to themselves, we're a game in hand. If we win that, we're in the hanging on to everybody. So I think it's all about Queen's Park. Queen's Park have never ever been in this position. The players will never have been in this position. The pressure of trying to get into the Premier League will be awesome in a lot of them. So I think it really depends on who really deals with the situation.
Well, I mentioned to you last week I thought Dundee would be the team to catch them. Tam, Arbroath certainly put the cat among the pigeons, didn't they?
They did. That was a shock result. I think Queen's Park, they targeted 9 points from the 3 games. They'd already got 6, Cove Rangers, Inverness. And if they went 7 points clear, it would have been a big gap. It was a huge game for them. And Arbroath have went up there and get a great result for them. Gets them off the bottom of the table. I think Raith Rovers are still kind of in the playoff mix as well. They've got a couple of games in hand. Thistle, Inverness. But I do think it's a straight fight now between Queen's Park and Dundee to win the league. And they both play each other, as I said, in the last game of the season at Queen's Park. So it could be a massive game to see who goes up.
But it's such. I watched quite a lot of Championship this year, and it's really weird. I mean, I watched Dundee absolutely scalp Queen's Park earlier in the year, and this was autumn, and I looked at Dundee and I went, they're certainties. They're going to win. I mean, they scalped them. It was 3-0 going on 5. Yeah. And I thought, and then I watched Dundee. I can't remember who it was against. It was maybe Thistle.
Well, we beat them 3-1 up there.
Poor. I just don't know what to make of it. I think you're right about Queen's Park though. Once push comes to shove, I think Simon Murray was a huge blow for them as well.
Martin Torrance says Queen's Park let my coupon down on Saturday. Probably you and a good few others, Martin, to be perfectly honest with you. I must just mention, well done to Hamilton Ackies. Ruffy, I was with a few of the Hamilton backroom team the night before, and obviously I think Raith Rovers were clear favourites, but great for John Rankin. He's doing a great job there. Whether he can get them away from relegation is another matter.
Well, this is a kick start, isn't it? You would like to think if you won a trophy, you know, the players will get a bit of belief in themselves. They'll have they are where they are because they're not winning games, but they know that in any given day they can beat the teams at the top. You know, so you would, I think, the confidence of winning that would be good. And well done to John Rankin, because I think 6 weeks ago he was at the door. There was people hauling for him. He wasn't doing the right job, and he wasn't doing this, and he wasn't doing that. So you always like to see a manager getting a wee rub of the green.
He's a good guy as well.
Yeah, very good. He always has been, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So well done to Hamilton Accies for winning that. A couple of things I want to get your thoughts on. A few Legends friendlies.
There was.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe actually that they didn't call you up for one of them, Tam, because some of the people that were rolling out as Legends, I mean, Trevor Sinclair never kicked a ball for Celtic. They must have been toiling.
And I played a game for Celtic under 14, so I thought I might get a shout before Trevor Sinclair, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But no, I seen the highlights. I seen Gerrard scoring the goal for 4,000 Celtic fans.
Yes.
And he got a few missiles thrown at him.
He did get a few missiles, which is not good. But I have to say, I don't know about you, but I'm all for a noise up, and I thought it was funny.
I can only imagine the stick he was getting, you know, in the park, and he must have been licking his lips when that penalty came up, and there was only one man taking it, and that's what happens when you give it out. You've got to take it back, and he gave it to the Celtic fans. I'm sure it was good natured, but listen, there was a big crowd there. I seen you know, the Cop was full as well, so no, brilliant, great for the charities that were involved.
Yeah, I mean, Ruffy, you know what I'm like. I love a noise up, and Gerrard, you know, running over there giving it that, it's a great laugh.
It was good when he was obviously interviewed and said, you know, were you going to take the penalty? And he says, there was nobody going to take that but me. And he says, I even knew where it was going before I got it. You know, so it's a friendly game. It's a family atmosphere game. It's to raise money for a charity. Why not have the noise up?
But you never lose that. You never lose that competitive. You never lose it. And I bet you get that buzz again. That goal.
And that's the interesting thing as well. I love looking at that because, like, so I never had that. You know, I never had the talent either, but I never had that desperation to win a game. And see, the funny thing is, you'll know yourself. See, playing in charity games, we'll not name names and that, but you'll know guys that'll leave a foot in, that'll moan, that'll scramble, and you'll say, you've got 24 winners' medals sitting in the house, and they'll be in a Dreich day in West Lothian, they'll be running about daft in front of 50 people just to win, but that's what made them.
Yeah,
that's what made them. That's why they became, well, part of why they became great players.
Absolutely, and I thought it was a great noise up. And I'll tell you a great story, Ruffy. You know, obviously a big Liverpool fan as well, and basically, you know, one of my friends phoned us up and said to us, you know, we've got tickets for Liverpool. We're playing Everton in a cup game. I can't remember if it was a quarter final or maybe third or fourth round. And he said there's only one problem, and he said because Moisey was the manager of Everton, it's me and Davey's brother. We're going to the Everton end, and I'm thinking, oh, I can't believe it. So we're at Anfield in the Everton end for the cup game. And it's the same time that Steven Gerrard was involved in some fracas in a pub, and the police were involved in whatever, and the Everton fans were giving him pelters. I mean, they absolutely battered them for about the full 80 odd minutes of the game, and Everton were 1-up. And the only guy who absolutely bossed the game in the middle of the park was Gerrard. He was outrageous. I mean, it was just a virtuoso solo performance. It was just unbelievable. And then Hugh, the ultimate, same as Celtic, he scores the goal to equalise, and he scores it at the Cop, and he runs the entire length Adebayor style to the Everton fans, and he just goes like that, woof, read the name, because that's the goal scorer. And I thought to myself, that's the type of player. I love a noise up.
And that's what it's all about. I mean, you must have taken some pelters at times as well, Tam.
The best one you know of it was when I remember we got done with the Sunday Mail paper for the strippers. The week later we played Dundee United at Tannadice, and we got a penalty in the last minute, and I scored, and I jumped up on top of the pole and slid down it provocatively. And Tam Cowan still says to me that's the best celebration I've ever seen, and that cost me a week's wages.
Yeah.
Did it, aye?
I did, aye.
Well, to be perfectly honest with you,
It was worth it.
we did my story with David Martindale, Livingston manager. A couple of weeks from now, we're doing my story that night with the strippers, Tam McManus. So that's absolutely fine. I think that could actually break the internet.
Parental guidance.
Yeah,
you can only watch it after 9 o'clock.
And for the benefit of Tam's mum and dad, we've found the girls as well. You're maddie. It's a bad day, isn't it?
Oh.
It's a disgrace. If I'd have known that in the interview, I wouldn't have hired them.
Yeah,
It's
you
as
just
simple
can't
as
get
that.
caught.
No. Brilliant, Ruffy. Anyway, and the other one I might as well tell you about for the unique content that we're supplying. Got a brilliant one-to-one with Alex McLeish coming up as well. And I was chatting, well, your gaffer, and of course I was chatting to him about, the legends rolling out at Ibrox. Jermaine Defoe scored a lovely little dink goal as well. The only problem was, he said, it was really difficult watching. He says, a few of the lads that have managed and their legs have gone. He says, and we're playing against Robin van Persie, who could easily still be playing.
I know. But some of them, when you watch some of the players now, I mean, I always remember Loudrop when they get into the Scottish Hall of Fame, and you just looked at him coming into the Hall of Fame dinner, Brian Loudrop.
Yeah, looked good, didn't he?
I mean, not just fit, but just like vibrant, healthy.
Yeah.
See, he got a game on Saturday.
Yeah.
He got a game on Saturday.
Was Jim White? Was he?
He was there as well. He was
Brian
Brian was so good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some of them maintain it. Larson's the same. Larson's got that look that he could play on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. Hugh Scott says, Peter, that will be my story. Did you know I played in America with Tam McManus? No, that's the follow-up, Hugh. That's the follow-up story, but nevertheless, it should be, I think, a good watch, especially if you're an Aberdeen fan, because it's the 40th anniversary, and Alec shared more than a few stories with us, Ruffy. Of course, the time when Fergie just basically said the rest of the team were poor. The only two that deserve credit in this Scottish Cup final that were just beating Rangers in is Miller and McLeish. And there's some great stories all the way to Gothenburg. Who would have thought? All the way and beat Real Madrid in the final, and it's great listening to Alex telling and recalling the stories.
As a player, I mean, Hughes already spoke about it earlier. As a player, to achieve something like that, any time you go to Aberdeen, and I know you're doing a couple of the Aberdeen functions, you're just loved. You're loved forever. You just walk about Aberdeen, and people just want to be with you or get a photograph or whatever. And it's good that, like we'll talk about Hewitt last week and McMaster as well. It's good that these guys are getting a mention, because it's not all about Leighton and McLeish and Miller, and these guys are part of that setup.
It's another one, because obviously we like to highlight in PLZ Soccer, Tam, that we cover as many stories as we possibly can right across the whole of the Scottish Premiership and beyond. And of course, if you download the app, you get all the breaking stories, Scotland, England, European and world football. And of course, it's not just the football show. We've got preview shows, results shows, and there's more content coming on board. We hope you enjoy as we grow bigger and better. And we're not in any way precious. And you know what the 21st century is like now. There's a whole woke culture, a cancel culture. We don't mind getting battered. And Gregor, who's a big Aberdeen fan and absolutely hates my guts, he says, Peter Martin, my story with Paul McStay, how overrated was I? So there you are. That's the type of thing you get from Gregor.
Back to Alec McLeish and that, I was talking to guys of a different generation about McLeish. They were like young Aberdeen fans and all that, and they were talking about it. There was a time where Aberdeen were getting between 6 points of Celtic with Ash Taylor and that in centre defence. No disrespect to Ash Taylor, and they said, see if we had Miller and McLeish, do you think we would win the league? I said, if you had Miller and McLeish then now, you would win the league. And they're in their 60s. I think people forget, and it's not misguided, is how good these players were. These were not just good Scottish football. There was a real argument about that time, 83, 84, 85, that you could see that Miller and McLeish were the best central defensive unit in Europe.
Yeah, I don't think many people...
You could say that.
Yeah.
That's how good they were.
Yeah, another great thing about it as well, which is great in this interview that we did with him in a one-to-one, is basically Alex saying the only thing that Willie Miller would say to me is, let's make sure, clean sheet. That was it. That was all they were interested in. If you've got Stuart Kennedy, Doug Rugby, you've got a right good chance of doing it.
Quickly, Alec McLeish was still playing when I was a boy at Hibs. He still trained with us, and I hated being picked in his team. He was horrible. He toughened you up. And remember my first ever game, the reserve game, Alec McLeish was playing, and he couldn't move. Right, he was. I don't know what he was 40. He was still playing in the reserves.
Yeah.
And I come on in the last 10 minutes, my first ever appearance, and the ball went out for a corner, and I just went and took the corner. And I think my legs buckled trying to take this corner, and I never hit the first man, and they nearly broke up the part and scored, and McLeish was up for the corner, and you wanted to see him try to get back, busting his cell right, and he absolutely slaughtered me after the game. Said, man, you ever do that again, you don't beat the first man, you're not going to play for Hibs.
No,
but
anyway,
he was brilliant.
He was excellent in the interview. I do hope you're going to enjoy that as well. David Martindale, My Story, is out now on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Couple of quick things. Ruffy, Conte, sack, no surprise.
No, we were talking about it last week. Again, he went away back to Italy, but what a payoff that'll be.
Who do you think is going to get the job? Yes, fantastic. Isn't it amazing how Ruffy thinks about the payoff? Nagelsmann 3-1, Pochettino 7-2, Luis Enrique 8-1, Oliver Glasner 10-1, Ange Postecoglou 16-1, and Christian Stellini at 16-1. Ange Postecoglou, they just love bookies throwing him in there.
Aye. But
Spurs is turning into a poison chalice, by the way, Hugh.
Spurs has been a poison chalice for quite. I mean, they've not won a league since the early '60s. Not won much apart from Pochettino. To his credit, got them to a Champions League final. Very difficult club because the huge expectations. It's got such a stadium now as well. It's fantastic. They've got the resources. I think they'll probably go for Nagelsmann, but I don't think it's a smart move going for Nagelsmann.
Yeah, you know him better than most. Just a wee word, Alan Archibald, now the league youth coach at Motherwell. How good is that?
Fantastic. I know he was offered a couple of jobs when Colley was there, and he turned them down just to stay with Thistle to be a manager. But no, great guy, another good guy in the dressing room that the players all would love.
Yep, a lot of time for Alan. I think that's Motherwell's game.
Yep, good. Listen, I work with a lot of the Mother boys at Braidhurst, the performance school. They've got a lot of talent coming through, a lot of really talented players, so he'll enjoy that, working with real quality players.
And Pettigrew worked in the academy as well at Motherwell. He was, he worked with the Turnbulls and all that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. They've got a good reputation for it. Good luck to Alan Archibald. He's a really great lad, to coin my catchphrase on it, but he is genuinely, and we hope he does
16-1 Postecoglou.
Yeah.
If you put a tenner on, you lose a tenner.
Well, that's fantastic, because Hugh Scott has just said, Peter, as Tam would say, put a tenner on Ange getting the job, you'll lose a tenner. Simple as that. What about the competition? Here's a chance for you to win something.
It's another fantastic competition from PLZ Soccer for your chance to win this signed print of Arsenal and Scotland fullback Kieran Tierney by artist Gio Thompson. You have to subscribe to PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel and put your answers in the comments section below to this simple question. What is Kieran Tierney's Arsenal squad number? So don't forget to subscribe to PLZ Soccer and put your answers in the comments section below. Good luck.
Yeah, brilliant. Well done to Patrick, who adds a bit of glamour to it as well. We've had Adam, we've had Kerry, and now Patrick just offering you the chance to get involved in the competition. The answer to the quiz question here was the question: in which year did Scotland last win their opening European Championship qualifier?
Not going to Scooby.
2008.
2008. Ruffy? Like that.
2014.
Yeah, 2014. The last time.
Well done, Thomas.
No. I don't. Do you want to tell you something? I don't even know the answer because I was so busy.
What's the answer? Doing Ruffy stuff now.
Well, doesn't it?
A Ruffy
I'll tell you what you do. What you do. Just throw it in.
The reason why I don't even know the answer, I'll tell you why. Because I was running Alex McLeish back into town, and I made it here by the skin of my teeth. So I was thinking to myself, I'm under pressure. 2006.
Is it?
Yeah, so there you are. At least I got it in, Ruffy, Thankfully for that. That's what happens when you're trying to make as much content as possible so that you can enjoy yourselves. If you love football, it's uncensored, unbiased, unmatched. It's free to watch. Why not hit the subscribe button on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel? My Story with David Martindale is well worth a watch. It was great getting that lovely compliment from Hugh. The team worked so hard on it, and we're going to bring you more and more of all of that. coming up over the next few months and through to the summer and beyond. There's big things happening. Hopefully you'll be a part of it. From Ruffy, Hugh McDonald, Tam McManus and myself, Peter Martin, thank you for watching.